So here we are back again a couple days later, talking about Live Nation again, Live Nation Entertainment, more specifically, because this is a big deal in the music industry right now. And we went into a little bit of detail on the last stream and video about what's going on and why they're being investigated and how Taylor Swift called him out. And we saw M. Shadows' comments where he was basically defending Ticketmaster, which is funny because every time I do a video and then I edit it for YouTube, like I watch it later and I'm like, man, I hope I didn't say anything wrong because I really don't want to do that ever. I don't want to put anything out that's just wrong. And when M. Shadows made the statement of Ticketmaster pays 100% of the door / its face value of tickets to artists, and I said, no fucking way. Like, there's no way that's true. I actually reached out to a couple of my friends that I know that are personally talent buyers for Live Nation. And I was like, is there any way that's true? Because I will correct myself if it is. And they're like, no, that is not how that works. We are not paying 100% of the face value and door to artists. But today what we're going to do is kind of do a deeper dive so I can show you the exact reach that Live Nation has in the music industry. Because, you know, I released a little clip on my social media where I was talking about Live Nation, and I had a lot of people that were like, well, Live Nation isn't a monopoly. They're just really good at business and nobody can compete with them. But they are a monopoly. And we're going to dive into it today, and I'll show you how and why. Because from my experience in the music industry, know people that currently or have worked for Live Nation Entertainment in the past. And they told me a lot of things in the last couple of days that I didn't even know. So right now, we'll just go over the basics really quick to start. And we'll talk about the big companies that everybody knows. But then I found an entire list of every subsidiary that Live Nation Entertainment owns and where it's based out of. To start us off here, we're just going to go to the main Wikipedia page, which lists a few things. And, you know, Wikipedia is a good source of information if you can verify it. I know a lot of people don't trust Wikipedia because they're like, anybody can edit it. But for the most part, if there's stuff that has references on it, Wikipedia is pretty safe to use. But as most of you know, Live Nation Entertainment is a American global entertainment company that was founded in 2010 following the merger of Live Nation and Ticketmaster. We've talked a lot about that already. The company promotes, operates, and manages ticket sales for live entertainment in the United States and internationally. It also owns and operates entertainment venues and manages the careers of music artists. So we've talked about this a lot. Live Nation is a promoter. Ticketmaster, who is owned by Live Nation, is a ticket seller. But Live Nation also has a management firm, and they manage artists. They also own venues. They also own merchandise companies. So you've got one company that under its umbrella is running the entire operation of some tours and shows. So if you really think about that for a second, start thinking about all the fees and stuff. So let's say you've got a Live Nation artist that's doing a tour that's promoted by Live Nation, and it's only playing at Live Nation venues, and it's only using Ticketmaster to sell its tickets, and that artist is using their merchandise company. All of the money is just going back into one pot, even though they're still paying fees. So like a merchandise manager for Live Nation Entertainment or Live Nation Merchandising, sorry. They're going to do their job. They're going to pay the venue the merchandise fee at the end of the night. We've talked a lot about merchandise fees. I have a video on that too. But the merch fee that they're paying from Live Nation Merchandise is going straight back to either the venue or the promoter, which is both Live Nation. So the money is just floating in a circle. It's fucking insane. Under its subsidiaries list, it just has the big ones. Rock Nation, Ticketmaster, Live Nation Concerts, Frontline Management Group, Live Nation Network, C3 Presents, AC Entertainment, Live Nation Merchandise. So this list right here, those are just like the big ones that a lot of people are aware of. But what I want to do today is go down this list that I found of every subsidiary of Live Nation Entertainment. And it's a fucking long list. Like if you guys are looking at the screen right now, that's the list. That is every single company that operates as a subsidiary of Live Nation Entertainment. I'm not going to count this, but that's at least a few hundred. Avayer said, if they counted correct, 318 subsidiaries. One thing I'm noticing already that's crazy. If you look at the jurisdiction of incorporation or organization in the states, It's like 90% of it is Delaware.
Hi, I'm in Delaware.
But starting at the top of the list and just going through, like, there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, I'm not going to know all of this stuff. Obviously, these are companies that I'm not going to be familiar with, but there are some names that are going to pop out. Azoff Promotions, LLC. Irving Azoff was named the most powerful man in the music business in the early 2010s. Also, basically running Live Nation Entertainment. Irving Azoff is a bigwig manager in the music industry. They've joked about him being the tallest person in Hollywood if he stands on his money. He's that rich and powerful. Bamboozle, the Bamboozle Festival, that's owned by Live Nation. We've got a lot of management firms in here that I'm already seeing. Boom Management, Career Artist Management, Productions, Event Merchandising. Look at this one right here on screen. FEA Merchandise. That is the company that I used to work for when I was doing merchandise early in my career. And they got bought by Live Nation and absorbed. But the thing is, they still let FEA operate as if it's its own entity. They're just fully owned by Live Nation. So that's where a lot of this scheming comes in. So many companies are actually owned by Live Nation Entertainment, but still operate by themselves to make it look like they're independent, where in reality, all of the money is still funneling back up to Live Nation. So I was actually working for FEA when that acquisition took place. And then I had to go through the Live Nation training and their systems and how they do merchandise. And they're fucking terrible at it. I don't know how they operate. Probably why they're buying merch companies, because there's merchandise companies that are so much better than them that they just want them. Frontline Management Group. That's another big one. And then Fillmore, the Fillmore Theatrical Services. For anybody in the US, you're familiar with the Fillmore, the music venue. Yeah, that is Live Nation. We've got every House of Blues. Every House of Blues is listed on here. So if you ever go to a House of Blues to see a show, that just know that that's Live Nation. One of the big ones coming up too is VIP Nation. VIP Nation is a company that handles VIP packages for fans. So if you ever go to a tour, sometimes they do the VIP packages where there's like, you get a tour backstage, you get a meet and greet, you get extra merchandise, stuff like that. There's companies that handle that kind of stuff. Live Nation has tried to get the stranglehold on that as well. So they don't have to hire out a VIP company to do this for them. It's all in-house. Morris Artist Management, another big one. Ticketmaster, everything. And here's what people need to understand. Everybody knows Live Nation owns Ticketmaster. And lots of people want to not use Ticketmaster when they buy tickets. So they go to something like Tickets Now or TicketWeb or something like that. Problem is, check it out. TicketWeb and Tickets Now, owned by Live Nation. Vector Management, another fucking massive management firm. So that's just in the US. This first four pages of businesses in the US. Now, if you notice, if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, it says its area of jurisdiction. Lots of these are in Delaware. A whole page here is basically Delaware. And there is a reason for that, is because Delaware is one of those states that has massive tax breaks for businesses. So here you go. This is from Forbes on why businesses are operating in Delaware. Forbes says, what do 68% of Fortune 500 companies and 93% of all US-based initial public offerings have in common? They're all registered in Delaware, and many at the same nondescript brick building on North Orange Street. So why do so many companies incorporate in Delaware? In 2020, Delaware saw an additional 250,000 new businesses register in the state, pushing the total number of businesses registered in Delaware over 1.6 million. Delaware has become internationally recognized as a corporate paradise and is home to such famous firms as Amazon, Google, Tesla, Walmart, American Express, and Disney, just to name a few, and a lot of Live Nation businesses, as we're seeing. As the second smallest state by size and one of the least populous, it may seem odd that Delaware became the business mecca it is today, but since the early 1900s, the state has been incentivizing businesses to stay with lenient tax policies, reduced restrictions, and simplified corporate laws. The key benefits to incorporating in Delaware are tax benefits, privacy, expediency, simplified structure, and the corporation court. Corporations registered in Delaware that do not do business in the state do not pay corporate income tax. So, for example, if I eventually started TankTheTech LLC as a business and incorporated it in Delaware, registered in Delaware, but I don't do my business in Delaware, I do it in Tennessee, I wouldn't have to pay a corporate income tax. That's how that works. Delaware also does not have a sales tax, investment income tax, inheritance taxes, or personal property taxes. While companies do have to pay a franchise tax to register in Delaware, this can be pennies compared to the income tax other states would charge. Nationwide companies that do conduct business in Delaware can still skirt the in-state income tax by establishing subsidiary or shell companies that hold various intangible assets but do not directly run business operations. In terms of privacy, as with registering a business in most states, companies must assign a registered agent who maintains a physical address to be the official address and to receive mail and collect paperwork. Unlike most states, however, in Delaware, the registered agent is the only name that must be disclosed in association with the company. Other officers and directors are not required to disclose their names, allowing an extra degree of anonymity. Because of this lack of reporting, officers, directors, and shareholders are also not required to maintain residency in Delaware. Wow. So if I'm understanding that correctly, you could probably do this two ways. You could just use one name of somebody at your company to be that person that's registered in Delaware. Or I would imagine they might have some kind of like broker, because earlier in the article, it listed how most of these businesses are registered to the same address in Delaware. There's probably somebody that runs a business in Delaware that's just like, yeah, I'll register your business for you. And they're the name that's on all these businesses. Debrug brought up a good point. Debrug said, or it's their Delaware-based attorneys. That is a excellent point. That is probably the case, actually. Now, there's other places that operate like this as well. Like a lot of tour bus companies, while they operate their businesses out of their state. So, for example, there's a lot of bus companies in Tennessee that operate in Tennessee. If you look at all the license plates on all their buses, they're registered in Montana. And I was always curious about that when I was younger, and I asked a bus driver about that one time. I was like, why are all these buses registered in Montana? They have Montana plates. And it's for the same kind of reasons. There's way different registration and taxes and stuff like that. And it's more beneficial for the companies to just register out of state, and it saves them money and shit. It's crazy. So, I mean, this is something that's done all over. I mean, we can't just scrutinize Live Nation for operating a lot of its subsidiaries out of Delaware, because tons and tons and tons of businesses do this. It's businesses taking advantage of the system that's already in place. That's all it really is. They're not doing anything illegal. They're just taking advantage of the system that's there. Lord Vix brings up a good point. Sabaton runs 100% of their merch business in Cyprus, in the country of Cyprus. A lot of people have shit on Sabaton for that, just because they're like, oh, they're evading taxes and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, you can say whatever you want, but they're doing it legally, as are all of these companies. They're just taking advantage of a system that is already in place. How much does it cost to incorporate a business in Delaware? The minimum fee to incorporate in the state of Delaware is $89, which includes the corporation fees, the filing fee tax, and the county fees. For larger businesses or for expedited filing, the cost does go up from there. That is why you are seeing companies like Amazon, Google, Tesla, Walmart, American Express, Disney, Live Nation, massive companies that have incorporated in Delaware that are probably reaping the benefits of those tax advantages and that system. Like everybody, I'm curious what it says for FEA. FEA is listed in Delaware too, and they operate out of New Jersey. Andromeda Keebs in chat just said, I work for an American bank, and though most people think our headquarters is in New York, our headquarters is in Delaware. There you fucking go. Now, just as a reminder, we've only gone through the subsidiaries in the US. So let's go to the rest of the world really quick and see what this looks like. So we've got 5 subsidiaries in Australia. You got Ticketmaster in China. Belgium has a handful too. Live Nation, Ticketnet. I mean, it's probably going to look the same in a lot of these countries. It's probably going to be Ticketmaster and Live Nation set up as a promotion company in a lot of these countries. You got Ticketmaster registered in the Cayman Islands. That doesn't look sketchy. Live Nation Russia and Baltics is actually registered in Finland. So we got asked in chat, Isano said, what the f***, when did Ticketmaster buy? I assume that's the Finnish ticketing company. I'm not going to even get close to pronouncing that. Lipupalvelu. Yeah, that's as close as I'm going to get. It looks like Ticketmaster acquired them. Come on. Yeah, 2000. Okay, everybody in chat is saying 2003. So yeah, it looks like Ticketmaster has been running them ticket sales in Finland for about 20 years now. So you can see that Live Nation, everybody just looks at this Live Nation situation like it's like, oh, they own Ticketmaster and Ticketmaster's running things. They own quite a few different ticketing agencies all over the world. So even if people aren't using Ticketmaster, chances are they're using a ticketing company that's owned by Live Nation. They own security companies in the Netherlands. They own Santa's Kingdom in Scotland. That was one I was not expecting. Live Nation has bought a lot of these independent companies and let them still operate in the public eye as though they are an independent company, but all the money is just funneling straight back to Live Nation. They own everything, dude. Yeah, Live Nation South Korea, Live Nation Singapore. You can't go anywhere in the world without having Live Nation doing something. Rock in Rio. In our last video, we were talking about how much Live Nation is worth and if they have any competitors and stuff like that. The current market summary for Live Nation as of filming this video right now is $15.83 billion. And I think in the last video, somebody had asked like who can compete with Live Nation, and in my head, it's like AEG is the next biggest one I can think of, and I bet AEG is worth half of that. Live Nation is the biggest for sure. AEG still, it says it's estimated between 8 and 10 billion, and AEG is the only company that even comes close to competing with Live Nation. Oh, Frosty says that. Good point. Frosty says that's as of 2012. So we're not going to get an absolute accurate number on AEG, but I can confidently say that Live Nation is bigger. Because from my experience of doing tours for the last 15 years, I don't know. I can't think of any specific tours or events that I've done that were AEG. I know we've played some shows in venues that are AEG owned or promoted, but I would say over 95% of the tours and shows that I've done were either promoted by Live Nation or at a Live Nation owned venue. You can't get away from it. And as we can see from all their subsidiaries, their hold goes way farther than just what we've been hearing about. Like everybody talks about the monopoly of Ticketmaster and Live Nation. Like that's the big problem. But the bigger thing there is like, as Avayer looked up, it was over 300 subsidiaries around the world that Live Nation owns, but also still operates as though they're independent companies. Like I'm going to read you a text really quick. I'm not going to say who it's from. Somebody that I know that was an employee of Live Nation Entertainment for over 10 years texted me last night after they saw my Instagram story. And they said, the Live Nation grip runs so much fucking deeper than most of the world thinks. Like it's way worse than anybody knows about. They're buying every single competitor that they have. They now own Insomniac, which is a big EDM events promotion company. They own C3. Ticketmaster now owns TicketWeb. It's getting insane. Like they just feel threatened and they just scoop up a company. And when they bought Insomniac to promote EDM shows, they swept in under the Insomniac umbrella, making it seem like Insomniac is still an indie company, but they're not. They're owned by Live Nation. They also said they would come into these indie venues, they'd buy the venue and give them support to make them seem like they're still an independent venue, only to be owned by Live Nation the whole time. And they said they'd be open to talking to me on a podcast or giving me information about all of this to like bring to you guys as well. So that would be interesting, but I don't know, man. I'm going to keep up with this because even though I've worked in the music industry for a very long time, I'm learning new things about this like every day. now that this has become the forefront of the news again and everybody's looking into it, there's more and more dirt coming up. And there's more stuff that I'm learning that I didn't even know about. So I'm just going to keep reading, keep learning, and we'll just keep bringing it back to stream and seeing what happens. But thank you guys for hanging out for this one, man. I don't know when we're going to do this again, but if anybody's watching this on YouTube later and you want to join us, you can jump over to twitch.tv/TankTheTech every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. But until we get more dirt on Live Nation, my name's Tank, and I'll see you guys soon.